In this video, I'm going to cover absolutely everything that you need to know about Facebook advertising and how you can use it to create profit for your business. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or intermediate. By the end of this video, you're going to be a complete expert and you're going to feel very comfortable with running ads. I'm going to cover when you should use Facebook ads, how to sign up to Facebook ads, how to not get banned. I'm also going to cover a clear step-by-step framework for running ads. I'm also going to screen record and show you step-by-step how to set up ads in the Ads Manager. I'm going to cover how to read the data within the ad account to make profitable decisions. I'm even going to go into the best types of creatives and ads to create to get the most profit. The best thing is I'm actually going to be launching a brand live in front of you and going back and checking the results so you can see absolutely everything that you need to do on a daily basis. We're not just going to cover the theory of Facebook ads, we're going to put it to practice. But first, let's cover what types of businesses actually succeed on Facebook ads. First up is e-commerce brands. Next is agencies. Third is if you're running an app, it can be great at driving traffic. Then we've got lead generation / info businesses. And finally, small businesses. Now you might be wondering, that is just so many types of businesses. And that's because Facebook is the most powerful marketing tool to have ever existed. If we took the daily active users on Facebook and compared it to countries, it would be bigger than India, China, US combined. They have the most data and the most robust platform. But that's not even the best part about Facebook ads. The best part is that you can use very small amounts of budget in a very controllable way where I put $1 into the machine, into Facebook, and I can clearly see that I get $3 back. This very measurable and iterative process makes it the perfect advertising tool for beginners. The key to getting this machine running properly is making sure that we do the right settings from the beginning, as well as we put the perfect creatives in terms of like videos or images that clearly convey the value propositions of our product. When combined, those two things get together and you can get incredible results. If you do these settings wrong in the early stages, chances are you're going to spend lots of money and get no profits. So I'm going to cover how to set up a business manager rather than just boosting posts on your page. I'm going to set up a Facebook / Instagram page with a few clicks. I'm going to show you how to verify your domain so you don't get banned. Then I'm going to set up a Facebook pixel, which communicates between our advertising platform and our e-commerce store. I'm going to show you how to set up payment methods, set up the ad account, and then finally launch the ads to see how much money we can actually make. So the first step is we want to go to business.facebook.com. This is called the Business Manager. Now, we don't want to use our personal profile and set up ads and boost posts through the page because we want to set up this properly so we can scale it in the future and Facebook will begin to trust us. So we want to click log in with Facebook and we want to use a Facebook that we've been using for a long time. The longer that you've had it, like maybe you've interacted with friends, family, the more trusted you're going to be. So I'm just going to log in here. Once you log in through Facebook through Business Manager, you'll probably be prompted to create a business portfolio, which we want to go through all of these steps. So the first thing I'm going to do this is because this is called Peak Textile. And then I'll enter my actual details, making sure it matches. Enter your business email as well. Click create. So once you've signed up to the Business Manager, all you need to do is go through the prompts and make sure you input all of the correct data of your business if you're incorporated, such as business numbers. For Australia, it's ABN, and then you're going to click Verify Business. Submit all your documents there. Make sure all of the names match your names on your IDs and the addresses are correct to avoid getting banned. Now, I'm about to go through all of these complicated settings, but the way that Facebook updates regularly, if something is confusing, just message in the Discord and say, I'm stuck on this section or this has changed. And I'll send maybe an updated video or we'll get one of our coaches to kind of explain what's going on. Alternatively, I might even just put on millionaires.com, which is my free e-commerce course, an updated section for that setting. So the first thing is you can come and see all of your business portfolios here. You probably won't have too many. You can click all tools up here. Now this can be quite overwhelming, but the main things that you need over here are actually already over here. So we can work down there. So people is a very, very good one. If you're using like an agency, you can invite people and give them certain levels of access so that they can't completely steal your ad account. Be very careful about who you put as admin here. Now, while we're talking about safety, while giving the right level of access to our team members is really important, we can also come to Security Center, and the amount of brands that I mentor in Daily Mentor that get their ad account hacked is absurd. Make sure you set up two-factor authentication for everyone. Set up your phone number or set up your authenticator app so that you don't get all of your money stolen. On the left, we can ignore partners, system users. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go to pages. Come across here and we're going to click add and create new page. We can enter our page name. This should match the brand name that you have on your website. And then you can put in the category, which will be clothing. And then we can add a short bio. Click next. Click agree, create page. And it should say successful. Now we can click done. Click refresh, and it should populate with our other pages. We can see this here. Now I can actually go into view page and I can change all of these details. So all I'm going to do is change this profile picture. So I'm going to upload the profile picture, click save. And then I want to add a new cover photo. Click upload. Click save changes. Now the page is mostly set up. We can come to this about section and change this basic info to give customers confidence around the fact that we are a real business. So I'm just going to go through here. Click save. I'm also going to add the website. Click save. And then the final thing we can do is we can just create one post. Back in stock. Buy now before we sell out. And we can add a photo. Just in case people go to our page, we want to make sure that they're confident that we're a real business. And click post. And now our page looks acceptable and like a real business. We can keep posting things on this as we go along to engage the followers, but truthfully, that's not that needed because all of our impressions, all of our customers are going to be coming through the ads themselves, not these posts. So I'm going to close this. And the next step that we want to do, coming down on the left, is create an ad account. Click add accounts, click add, create new ad account, and you want to call it what your brand name is. You want to make sure that you match your time zone to what you're actually selling in. And you want to make sure the currency is what you're going to be actually receiving in terms of your website. So I'm going to be receiving Australian dollars from my Shopify store. So I'm going to select Australian dollars because therefore I'm going to be able to pay my Facebook bills with the money that I'm receiving. So click next. One thing I will say about setting up this Facebook process is don't click around like a mad person. Don't accidentally make a name mistake. Just take your time. Make sure all the numbers are correct. If you're clicking around lots, Facebook might just ban you straight away, or you might make an irreversible mistake. So really, really take your time with all of these details. Now, the one thing you want to do here after you've created that account is you just want to make sure you select your name and make sure that you can manage your own ad account. So assign that. Then you'll be prompted to add payment info. If you don't get this message, you can always come to this setting and go payment. And then we can go to this ad account that we've just set up and click add payment method. Make sure it's in the correct currency. And we can add all of our details here. So similar to what I was saying before, make sure that the credit card that you're using is yours. Don't use someone else's credit card. Make sure it has funds in it as well. And just be aware that there's a good chance that your bank will call you and say there's potential fraudulent activity going on with your card. Make sure you approve that. And then you go back to Facebook and verify. You might even need to have a backup card to put into here if you can. One final thing to note about setting up the payment methods is I don't suggest that you use PayPal. I've just heard about a lot more people getting banned from PayPal than using a credit card. It's much harder to control from an accounting point of view as well. Hard to reconcile at the end of the month. If you don't understand that, you will one day. But the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a pixel. So again, just coming back to this section before, and we can just keep working our way down the list. We've got business asset groups, which we don't need. We can create a new Instagram if we wanted to here. You actually need to create it through Instagram, click add, connect account. But what I really want to do is create a pixel. So I'm going to go to data sources, click pixels. Now, depending on how Facebook is feeling, it might show you this new data sources section called data sets. They are still pixels. It's still very, very similar. It's just in a new section. So we can click go data sets. And within this, we can click add and we can create a new one called Peak Textile. And we want to use this recommended section. Click next. And we're going to click check for partner. We're going to click Shopify for me. And we're going to go to Shopify. Make sure your Shopify is already logged in. Now, all I'm going to do here is click install. And it's going to create this kind of app here. I'm going to click connect account. Continue. Now we're going to make sure that we connect the correct business portfolio that we set up before. Now it's going to bring you to this data sharing section and you should see the pixel that you just created before. So click that one, click agree and click submit for review. Don't refresh the page, just wait a little bit. Now it should say active here and you can run ads. We can come back here, click next. We can send some test traffic to it if we want. While that's going, I'll show you another method that you can use here. So you can go to Pixel Helper on Chrome and install this app. And then you can come to your website and click on it and you can see everything that the pixel is doing. You can see that it's properly installed with a tick. And you can also go to this section, click checkout, click on this, and you can see that it's initiated a checkout. So it's all nice and properly set up. So I'm just going to exit out of that. Weirdly, this isn't working. However, I'm not too worried because I can see that the pixel was firing there. So I'm just going to close that. One thing that you might want to do is just assign yourself to this pixel, make sure it's there. You can see that I'm now assigned to that. I'm also assigned to the ad account and also the page, which is good. And that's pretty much all of the settings that you need to know so that we can start running ads. I know that's quite boring, but if you don't do that correctly, then you're going to have a lot of troubles later on. So now all we need to do to start running ads is we come to the ads manager. So once we're in the ads manager, we should just check that this is the ad account name that we just set up. Now we can either click create here or create here, and we'll be brought to this section. Each of these options has its own purpose, but for 99% of people watching should be using this sales objective. This is because all of these other objectives aren't going to produce revenue for you. They're not optimized for revenue. So it will be shown to other audiences that aren't just primed to buy your product. They might be primed to click or just be kind of educated about your product. But realistically, this can deliver very low quality traffic that's not ready to purchase because there's so much ad inventory that Facebook wants to get rid of. And we want really good quality traffic. So we're going to click sales. Now, all of the sales setup was done through clicking through this Facebook and Instagram section and setting up the pixels. So you should be kind of ready to go. This section here is basically saying, do you want to use an Advantage Plus campaign, shopping campaign, which we definitely will eventually, but I want to show you how to manually set up something similar. I'm going to click manual. Then it will bring you to the campaign level. So you can see up here, this is a campaign, this is the ad set, and this is the ad. Very similar to before when I was here, this is the campaign, ad set, ads. So I can click edit on here and I can go down here as well, and we can edit each step of the way. The campaign level is the optimization, the settings within Facebook for what you're actually trying to achieve. When you come to the naming is going to be hidden to all of your customers. It's just for you. It's just an organizational tool so you can know what is within that campaign level. So I'm just going to call this Australia broad, and I'll explain what that means in just a second. Then we can come down a little bit and we can skip the categories as well. This is only if you're selling weird products. And we can come to this section here. This is what we selected before, sales. Then we've got Advantage Plus catalog ads. I'm going to explain what catalog ads are just in a second, and it'll make a lot of sense when I describe the type of ads, but I don't want to run catalog ads right now initially. I want to run video and photo ads, so I'm just going to turn that off. Then what we've got is the Advantage campaign budget. I'm going to turn this on. And what this means is that all of the ad sets that I create, so remember we've got the campaign level and then we got the ad set. If I create multiple ad sets, which ad sets are the certain targeting, so I might target dog lovers here. I'm not going to, but I might. And then I might target something else here or different age demographics on a next ad group. It will adjust this budget for, at the moment it's $20, across all of those different ad sets and give a lot more control to Facebook. If that didn't make sense, it will in a little bit, but I just want to leave this on for now. And I want to start at $10 a day. If you're wondering about how much budget that you should be setting to spend on a day, you want to be making sure that you're spending maybe 1/3 of the total price of your product. So if your product is $300, you probably want to start with $100 to speed up the insights that you can get to make iterative learning. If you don't have that amount of money and you're just wanting to get started and you're just trying to figure this out and play with it, it's okay to do a $5 a day budget just to work things out and see if your ads can kind of convert. So I'm going to start with $10 here. This budget scheduling, we can just leave that as automatic. A/B test, we're not going to set up A/B tests because we're going to test in a different way. We're going to let Facebook test, which again will make sense in a second. Then we go to the ad set level. So we're now down a level. We can go here, and again, this is a naming convention. I'm just going to write broad, and I'm just going to write ad batch 1. And I'm also going to write buy one, get one free BOGO, because that's the sale that I'm currently running. If you want to just write broad, it's completely acceptable. Then we've got website here, which is perfect because that's where we're driving the conversions. Then we've got this performance goal here. This maximize value of conversions may be grayed out for you because you've started a brand new business manager. For me, I've got both of them. You can use maximize number of conversions initially. You don't want to use anything else at this point. It's just one of those two options is fine. Now, one thing that should happen here is the pixel should be created. I should see this pixel here, but something's gone wrong in my setup. So I'm just going to come back to the section. If it's a pixel issue, if it's a page issue, whatever it is, what you want to do is you want to come back. You don't want to publish draft items yet. We can just close that. And I want to come back and see what's gone wrong with my pixel. So come back to these sections and go to data sets. I can go to this one and I can click assign assets. And now I want to select the ad account that I was running. And that should all be good to go now. So back to the ads manager, come back into edit. None of those ads were running. Come back to the ad level. That's where I was up. And now that is sitting there, which is great. It's going to give me a warning because I've had no activity from the conversion that I've selected because nobody's purchased. It's a brand new business, so that's fine. ROAS goal, we can leave that empty as well. Dynamic creative, we can leave that. That's going soon. Then we've got budget and schedule. I don't want you to select an end date. I just want you to run this indefinitely, but just make sure that you don't set and launch these ads and then forget about them because Facebook has no problem about debiting you $20 every single day, even if you're not getting conversions. So leave that open. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to check this audience control. This has automatically selected Australia for me. So I can actually change this. If I wanted to add United States, I would come in here and add this, and you can see that it's now updated this audience on the left, but I'm not going to do that. And now is probably a good time to talk about strategy and what I'm setting up on the ad set level. The best strategy for Facebook ads is setting up a campaign. If you're going to sell in multiple countries, you want to set up a campaign for each country. So this one's going to be my Australia one. I'm also going to set up a United States one and a United Kingdom one because I'm testing my product to see where it will sell. And I want to keep them individually on the campaign level, but I don't want to mix all of the audiences because I'm not going to be kind of sure what countries are working best for it. So I'm just going to leave this as Australia. And then I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to leave advantage audience. And then I'm going to leave placements as is. I can see that this pixel selection isn't actually going to work, which makes sense because it's a brand new pixel. So that's now grayed out for me. So I'm going to go back and fix that. Just check that you've got no errors here, and then you can go to the next step. Now we're at the ad level. So it's a great time to talk about types of ads and how to optimize your ads for Facebook. There are three main types of ads that you want to be running on Facebook. The first is images. Now, images used to not be very good on Facebook because it's very hard to communicate certain value propositions, highlight the product in the full extent, but recently they have been working incredibly well. To find ads that you really like, you can head to trendrocket.io, which is my tool, and you can log in or sign up, and you can click on ads, click filters, you click media type and click images, and then click apply, and you'll get a bunch of different image ads that are currently running. You can scroll down and see what catches your eye. So this feels like a kind of a TikTok-y post with the Instagram captions, and you can see a bunch of other ones. You can change the language. Probably should have done that. Sorry. Country. I'm going to go United States, and I've got images selected. Now, one thing that works really well, let me see if I can find another example, is where you're explaining what the product is using like arrows and whatnot. Let me just quickly, because I know Udi has some. Let me also go to the Facebook ads library. If you don't have a TrendRocket subscription, then Facebook ads library is okay. You just need to know what brands to search. So come to all, and I'm just going to go into the Udi. So I can just view this ad, because this is kind of what I'm talking about. So you can see it's talking about problem, solution, just highlighting features of the product. I'll put another couple on the screen right now just so you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. The next type of image ads that works really well is just a sale promo. So this is a really good example of like a sale promo where we're calling out an option. Now we're on Black Friday sale for Udi at the moment. So there's going to be a bunch of these ads. You can see them here. You can mix kind of talking about the features and values propositions of the product. You only just need a Canva account. You can drag some lifestyle images, put some text on it, and you can kind of copy a similar format to this. And then the final thing that works really well is, again, sorry, I'm on Black Friday promo, so it's kind of hard to find, but is influencer photos. So just grabbing photos of influencers or real customers that have used your product and not even editing it too much. You might not even need to put it through Canva. It just needs to feel very native to the feed and run those. I'll add another couple of other high performing influencer photos for us so you can see exactly how that looks. And that brings me to my next format of ads that works really well, which is video ads. Similar to photo ads, there's three forms of video ads that work really well at the moment. The first one is called user generated content, which you might have seen people with their iPhone talking about how they purchased this product and the value, features and benefits that that product has given them. It feels quite native. It feels like a customer review. This is a really good format, and it's been dominant for probably the past 3 years on Facebook. That being said, it is definitely becoming less powerful than other forms of advertising because people are starting to get ad blindness to it, meaning that they've seen it so many times that they don't really trust it anymore. So this poses a new issue where you need to make sure that they really are authentic customers talking about the product, but it also means that it's made other forms of ads more viable. The second form of video ad that I really like is founder ads. If you just get your iPhone and talk about why you created the product and show your operation, that can work very, very well. And then the final format of video ad that's working really well is TikTok style ads. If you scroll on TikTok and you see brand new trends of the way people are consuming content, maybe it was like the cake, is it cake or is it not cake? That kind of stuff. It can really capture attention and feel native in the feed. We recently just did this creative here where the person is on AirPlay in the office and is getting kind of busted. And that's because it feels very native to the feeds and people kind of trust it that it's content, not an ad. With any of your ads, a general principle is first, understand the positioning. Who is the ad for in terms of their gender, in terms of the problem that they have, in terms of how they speak, all of that kind of stuff. Really nail who you're trying to sell to. The second thing is always make sure that you're talking about your unique selling propositions. Why is your product important? And why are your competitors maybe inferior, or the existing solutions out there in the market for this problem inferior? The third thing is always try to have an offer and call out that offer and create some urgency so shoppers are willing to purchase right then and there when they see the ad. Next is make sure it's not pixelated or blurry. You want to make sure people feel confident that you're a real business. The final mistake that I see a lot of people make is make sure that your video ads are really fast. People have such low attention span. There needs to be quick cuts and it needs to be high energy for the most part. So you might be wondering, how many ads do I need to get started on Facebook? You probably need 3 to 5 ads to begin testing. And the more that you can get, the better, because you'll be very, very surprised about what ads work and what don't. So the first thing when we're creating ads is we need to create the ad name. Now, these two names are somewhat important because there's only going to be a few campaigns and a few ad sets. It's less important than the ads, which there could be hundreds and hundreds of ads. So we need to make sure that we're very organized here with the naming convention. The first thing that I'm going to name is I'm going to call it alpaca socks. And then I'm going to do a dash. And then I'm going to write the type of ad. So this one's going to be a video. And then I'm going to write the actual ad description so that I understand what it is. So I'm going to come into some of the ads that I've edited, which is in here. And I can just open these ones up. And I've got a bunch of video ads. I'll just show you one of them. Actually, I'll show you the one that I edited in a previous episode.
If you're wearing your everyday normal socks, check this out.
Cool. So it talks about, how water doesn't absorb as much in it. So I can use this one. So to describe this ad, if you're using something like a UGC creator or they have like an Instagram and they're like an influencer pretty much, you might want to use their handle. So it'd be like Alex or something like that. But for me, this is just going to be, so it's basically a home shoot, Alex Soak. So I'm just going to do that. Actually, let me just do Alex Soak. Just because he's soaking the sock. And then I'm going to make sure that I select the correct page, which will be in the business manager. So I can just select here. And you can just use Facebook page for now. Actually, I am off camera. I'm just going to connect an Instagram and set up an Instagram. I'm just not going to bore you with that. There's nothing too hard there. It's similar to the Facebook page. Make sure you upload the logo and a photo. So I'm going to set that up off camera. But with ad setup, I'm going to click create ad. And then it's going to be manual upload. And then we come down to this section, which is single image or video. And we keep scrolling down. And then we've got this source URL. We want to make sure that we're grabbing whatever we want to push towards. So I'm going to be pushing to this product page. So I'm going to grab that and push it there. In e-commerce, you have the option to send this to your home page, or you could even send to your collection page. If you have multiple products, maybe you've got multiple different styles. So you've got a top and you've got some pants. You probably want to send to the homepage or the collection page so that people have the choice where they go on the site. Because mine's a one product store, I'm just going to send directly to the product page because that's what I optimized for. So next, all I need to do is click add video in this media section. If you had an image, you would obviously click add image. And then you need to upload the video. Select your video. I've uploaded these two. You can see these two videos. They're very, very similar. That's because they're just two different dimensions. So one is 9:16, and just because I've added text to the video, I didn't want this text to be cut off in the next step that I'm about to show you. So ideally, you want to create videos in 4:5 and by 9:16. If you can only pick one, you probably just want to create 4:5 because that can still go on most placements. So I'm just going to select this 4:5 and show you exactly what I mean. Click next. We don't need to trim it. Now you can preview the ads in certain sections, in certain things. So this is Instagram Reels. You can see this border here. We can actually get rid of that by simply clicking replace and uploading the 9:16. And now you can see that it looks much, much better there. We could also, if we wanted to get really granular, is upload a 16:9, which is horizontal. I don't think you need to do that. You can just leave original, and you can leave original there as well. And we can click next. Now, all of these options, some of them are looking quite good at the moment and doing some level of performance, but you can lose control a little bit on how the ad actually looks. So I'm just going to leave them for now. And yes, I'm going to add more creatives. Now we can preview what these looks like across multiple things. The main thing we want to check is Facebook feed. Make sure that it all looks great. Then we also want to go to Instagram feed. It's going to look exactly the same as Facebook. Then we can go to these stories as well. Make sure it doesn't cut off on Instagram stories and reels. And that looks pretty awesome. And then we can come down to the text. Now, if you're a little bit confused about what text to write where, we can come to ChatGPT. We can come to a section maybe where we've been talking about our product previously if you've talked about it a lot. Alternatively, you could just go to a brand new chat. I'll do that just because I don't think a lot of people have done that. And you could put in the website URL that you're sending to and just write me some Facebook ad copy and headlines for this product. Give me 5 options for each. And we can just punch that in. One thing about this copy is it's very AI orientated. So I just want to use break each sentence into a new line, be conversational, and this is looking much better. Say goodbye to cold, uncomfortable feet. Our premium alpaca socks are built for ultimate warmth and comfort. Create some with the science of alpaca wool. So this is just explaining a little bit more of the science, which is quite interesting, kind of entertain people and educate people around why ours is more important. We can also say, use emojis to call out features, benefits, and our offer. And you can see this is very digestible. Say goodbye to cold, uncomfortable feet. Our premium alpaca socks are built for ultimate warmth and comfort, whether you're on the job. They didn't really call out the offer, so I'm just going to tweak one of these and bring this in myself. But if you're very bad at copy, that's probably going to be good for you. So I'm just going to change this to tired of sore feet at the end of the day, ? So the main copywriting framework that I follow is the PASS framework, which is problem, agitate, and then solution. And then we want the link. So buy yours here. I'm just going to add the URL. Now we can actually preview that, but just by clicking here. Just going to spell check this. Spell check. I'm just going to copy and paste that. Make sure. One fun tip that you can do is you can purposely misspell there or your, and you'll get a ton of comments of people saying that you spelled it wrong, and you'll get a bunch of engagement, and it might make the ad go further. Not great if you're trying to build a brand, but it does kind of work. So we can now go down here, and there's a bunch of variations that it's going to create. We can also, if we wanted to try something else, we can click another, we can create our own. And I can just copy and paste this into ChatGPT and go, make me a version for hikers. And I'm just going to ask it to make me a version for another different avatar. And I'm going to put that in there and see which one it likes. Just going to get rid of the emojis, just make it look a little bit different. Sweet, so we've got 2 text variations there. Now we can scroll down and there'll be a bunch of headlines here. One thing that I like to do with the headlines is call out the offer that you've got on the website. So if you've got buy one, get one free, or if you've got like a 20% sale, call that out here. So I'm going to add this headline, but I'm also going to write another headline option here, which is buy one, get one free. And I'm just going to put like a line. Cool. So calling out the offer there. You could also add Black Friday sale. Sweet. Now with the description, pack of socks. Cool. Next, we've got this call to action. We can click here and we probably want to do shop now. Then we can scroll down and we can leave all of this. We can leave these enhancements. That was what I saw before. You can change this link to the display link you want. This is automatically populated. You can see that display link there, so it's absolutely fine, but I can just paste it in just to be sure. Keep scrolling down, check that this pixel is correct, and we should be pretty good to launch that ad. So when I click publish here, because it's in draft stage, you can see in draft up here. When I click this, it's going to start getting uploaded. Once that is approved, that ad, the budget will start spending. So we want to make sure that we are okay with that ad running if we're going to click publish. So I'm actually willing to have this ad to start posting. So I'm going to click publish here and it should upload and go into a review process. Great. Now what I can do, I can click duplicate and I can just check that I've got the same campaign, same ad set, and I can duplicate it. What I'm going to do now is upload an image ad underneath the same ad group, which means that the budget that I've set at this campaign level, that I think was $20 a day, but that is going to decide whether to spend on the image ad or the video ad. I'm going to show you how it knows what it's spending on, or what it's telling us, what ad's getting the best results in a second. But for now, I'm just going to go to image because I'm changing this, and I'm just going to go split BOGO. And I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to scroll down, and you can see because I've duplicated it, all of this copy is the same. Now the copy is not that important compared to the image asset. We want to spend a lot of time focusing on what type of creative, like the image or the video, works best as a first step, rather than just constantly spending a lot of time on the copy. So I can just delete this media, select image, upload my graphic, which is this one. Click next, next, done. And I should see a nice preview here. Cool, that all looks good. And then I can come down here. I'm not sure why that's not working. Facebook's just sometimes a bit buggy. And then I can click publish. That one will be published as well. And now I'm just going to go through this and keep duplicating these ads. I can just click quick duplicate. That'll be in the same ad set level. And I can go to the next one, which is video. And I can go VSL sit. I'll just go builder rip. And I can come back down here, upload a video. And I've got this other ad here where he basically rips the sock.
Did you know that socks are not made equal, especially for tradies? This is
cool. And I can just upload that one. Click publish. And I'm just going to keep going through this until I have 4 or 5 ads. And then I'll talk to you about what we do next. You're probably wondering, what's the purpose of having multiple creatives and introducing multiple creatives? First of all, one just might not capture attention, it might not be emotive, and it just might not be profitable in the auction system of Facebook. The purpose of every creative that we introduce should either allow vertical scaling or horizontal scaling. And this graphic shows exactly what I'm talking about. So if you just assume all of these dots are audience, when we do vertical scaling, we're targeting the same audience, which is this group here, but we're just maybe expanding it a little bit. We're just hitting that same audience, maybe a little bit of expansion, but we're just making sure that we convert those customers. Vertical scaling is less risky because we already know that that customer audience, that demographic, that persona, like let's say hikers, really wants the product. I don't know that just yet. But we also have something called horizontal scaling, which would be introducing, let's say, rather than hikers, it's going to be builders, which would be more targeting this audience over here. In the early stages when we're launching Facebook ads, and horizontal scaling is essential to grow your ad budgets over time. That's kind of what pretty much all you're doing when you hit a certain scale is you're just trying to expand how much you can spend on Facebook. But in the early stages, we want to horizontally scale straight away because we don't know if hikers want this product or builders want this product. We need to test both. So when I look at these creatives that I've just, that I set up, this one is a hiker's angle. You can see he's talking about the alpacas and showing the hiking shoes. And then this one, he's a builder. So, which is very, very important for those audiences. So if we wanted, we could match the copy to that. I didn't think that that's necessary, but I've just made sure that I've got builder angles and I've also got hiker angles in this ad set. And that's going to give me the best chance of actually getting some results. So now I have all of those ads in there. I've got one more step before I'm going to let this run overnight, maybe a couple of days until there's some level of results, maybe good or bad. It might not even work. And then I'm going to show you exactly how to read the ad account and what a Facebook media buyer does on a daily basis. But first, let me just show you this last thing that I need to do. Right now, we're only targeting Australia. So this probably actually should have been broad Australia, broad. Just so it was mentioned on the campaign level, but we've got this. What I want to do now is I'm actually just going to, once I've got all of these ads right, I'm going to come up to the campaign and I'm going to click duplicate. And I'm going to do duplicate original setup with copies. We want to make sure this show existing reactions, comments, and shares on new ads is ticked because the more likes and comments we can get actually on the post is more trust. Actually, I'm just going to change this to UK. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go UK. And then I'm going to scroll down to the place where I'm actually targeting the country, which is here. And I'm going to click edit and I'm going to exit out of that. And I'm going to do United Kingdom. And I'm going to keep the budget at the same, which you'll find on the campaign level, which is $10 a day. Actually, I'm just going to bump these up to $20 a day, just so I have enough spend. So I'm going to click publish here on this one. I'm also going to change my Australia one to $20 a day, just because if I do film tomorrow, I want to make sure there's some data, good or bad, for you guys. I'm going to click publish on the Australian one. And then I'm going to do it one more time. For USA as well. Come to this level, make sure you're changing the naming convention here. And then coming down here, we're going to edit, we're going to delete, we're going to do United States. Select that. And I'm going to click publish. Now, one thing to note about my website is I have selected on here to this domain at peaktextile.com. This currency conversion will change. There's shipping options available for the UK, US, and Australia. So I can actually ship to those customers. So just make sure that you can do that before you start spending in the country that you're shipping to. The amount of people that waste money sending traffic to something that they can't even purchase is astounding. I'm just going to fix that naming convention. So we've got a bunch of broad ads in each country. We're going to see which country works and which ad works as well tomorrow. I'll see you then. Alrighty, welcome to part 2 of the Facebook ads tutorial. I'm wearing black today. it's the funeral of this brand. It's going terribly. Not actually, but we don't have very, very good results, which I'm going to show you, which can mean multiple things. And I'm going to show you exactly how to work through that. So it's a great opportunity for me to teach you, because chances are you're going to get some slow results. My last probably 5 brand launches, I have gotten results in day 1 using the product selection process that I had, with sometimes I've managed to scale up to $5,000 days within like the second week of the business. But sometimes it doesn't work as well. And there's kind of a step-by-step process that we need to go through to understand what is broken and where. And fingers crossed, it's just not the opportunity. It might be the wrong product. We might have to go all the way back to square one and start product 1, which is realistically a possibility. But that being said, we want to tick off all of these boxes, because remember, when we first started this massive tutorial, for those people that have been following along this whole time, there is a few things that could go wrong before product. It could be your creative, it could be your website. All of these things we need to tick off, and there's actually data that we can look at to try to prove that. So coming back to the ad account, so make sure you select your dates here to get some data. So I've actually been thinking overnight, one structure that probably would have been a little bit more ideal is grabbing all 3 of these regions, putting them in an ad set and using what's called an Advantage Plus. So I could have come here and have the Advantage Plus just like this, and then had all 3 regions on the ad set level. So it could decide where to spend in each of those campaigns. But look, realistically, this is still giving me a lot of segmented data and forcing spend on each of these countries so I can see what's going on rather than just optimizing for results. So I might consolidate that in a little bit, but let me show you exactly how to dissect these ads. So the first thing we need to do is set up the columns right. So this information here is not enough. There's not enough data here. We can see that there's 0 purchases, but it's like, okay, cool, now what? So we want to set up our columns correctly. So to do this, I'll leave this in millionaires.com on the website. So we can actually just paste this bit of code here across here where it says columns. And that's going to change all of these sections here. So this is now a custom report. So I actually, if I wanted to, I could have, if you want to manually do it, which I don't recommend you do, but you can click customize columns and you can go through and you can select all of these things that I'm about to talk about. So this column for now, I have just, by using that paste, I can just call it Davies and click apply. And now I've just saved that as a default. So every time I come on, I can just come into there. I'm just going to come to Davies, and we can see on the campaign level, we've got all of this new data. So we've got the amount spent, and it's only on today. That's pasting that thing will change the date. So just make sure you change that. So we've got amount spent, purchase conversion value, which shamefully is 0, but we've got ROAS, total purchases, cost per purchase, cost per initiate checkout, which is the thing before add to cart. Then we've got outbound clicks, cost per outbound click-through rate, CPM, reach, and impressions. I'm actually just going to add cost per add to cart there. Total and cost. And I'm just going to save that and override that Davey one. Actually, sorry, that should have been. Sorry, guys, I'm making a bit of a mess of this. So always unselect all of these random things. We're not that clever to use those. And we want to come up and drag add to cart. So one thing you'll notice about the order of these is we want to make sure it's kind of like how the customer behaves. So first they get impressions, then they click out, so cost per outbound click, and then they're going to add to cart, which is the thing that I'm adding here. Then they initiate the checkout, then they purchase, then how much return on ad spend did I make? So it's kind of like a funnel, if that makes sense. So I'm going to add to cart there and cost per add to cart there. So I can see this. I'm just going to add initiate checkout. And again, guys, you can just use that URL and paste it. I'll leave very clear instructions on millionaires.com how to do that. So I'm going to drag this up and save this, override, and click apply. So now we've got our columns. What can we look at? We can't look at purchases because there is none, but we can dissect the issue by coming across here and looking at these earlier stage metrics. CPM, I would have expected this CPM to be much lower. This is the cost per 1,000 impressions. It stands for cost per milli. I would have expected this to be more like $20. Now, I have seen really competitive spaces with great LTV, like beauty and stuff like that, getting, $70, $100 CPMs and still making it work. But this is not a good sign. Now, there can be multiple reasons for this. Maybe the product's saturated. Maybe it's not the right product. It could also be, election time. There could be something technical why Facebook really hates us. Maybe we've got a really bad audience selection. So I can dissect all of those issues. But when I look at the outbound click-through rate and the cost per outbound click at 0.71 for outbound click-through rate, my gut feel paired with the CPM is that the creative is struggling. It's not that my website is terrible, because I would probably have a much better metric here. And then let's say I had lots of ad carts and a cheap add to cart. My conclusion wouldn't be the creative's bad because people are getting to the website. My conclusion would be that there's problems with their website. So if they're not even getting to add to the cart, then I need to fix before the funnel there. Now, this is all generally speaking, but yeah, if you have under 2% click-through rate, again, if you've got a higher AOV than what I've got, which is going to be $60, $80 or something like that, then this is maybe not applicable for you and those metrics will change. But I would really want this click-through rate to be at least $2, this to drop down to more like 20 at least. And then the cost per click, I would like it to be under $3. So I now know that the creatives aren't performing, and I don't need to go and dissect the website, although I might have a look at it as a priority. So one thing that you can do, there's not going to be any unique ad sets on the ad set level, unique insights on the ad set level, because it's going to match exactly this because of how we set it up. But I can also go to the ad level to start understanding stuff. When I'm on this section with a brand new store and just testing budgets, I want to filter by amount spent so I can see what Facebook is spending on. Because Facebook, remember what we did, we just kind of shoved a bunch of creatives into these campaigns, and we were just like, you decide what to advertise. Just to make this a little bit simpler and a little bit easier on your head, what I'm going to do is USA is performing the best. That's a good point. I probably should have explained that. I can see that the cost per click in the United States is $3.47, $3.69 in the UK, and $20 in Australia. Something weird's going on. Maybe the market's not right. Considering all my Australian UGC creators were all Australian accents, I also was saying tradies, which is not great. It should have said builders because tradies is only an Australian term, those kind of things. I would have expected that Australia campaign to be doing much, much better. But anyway, I'm just going to go to USA to simplify this for you and come to the ads. Now I just got the singular ads that I set up, and I can sort by amount spent, which should still be there. And you can see it spent $11.58 on this video and $8.48 on this one. So these two ads are looking like it's going to absorb the majority of the spend. Granted, it's still very early, because what Facebook really wants is it wants other metrics as well. It wants like purchase metrics. It's probably basing this on a bunch of factors, as well as like hold rate, how much they're watching the video, and a few other earlier stage metrics. But that being said, we could, for the next step, because the next step is we need to optimize our creatives and go back to the drawing board, or scrap and pivot the product, which I don't really want to do because I want to keep showing you guys how to work through these issues if you have them. But we can go into edit and we can just watch this creative.
You see that factor behind me? He's not very happy because I turned his wool into socks. And the reason I did that is because these socks are made with alpaca fibers, polymer materials, which allow me to stay cool while I'm on my hike.
So this is a hiking angle. Then we can come to this next one that's working.
You're wearing your everyday normal socks. Check this out.
This is a builder angle, so there's not any correlation there. So my kind of conclusion here is that I need to spend more. You do want to spend at least 3 times your average order value at least before you make any conclusions. As I said, it's like the election, a bunch is going on. So I'm just going to put these budgets up and make sure that they keep spending until I get some insights and see where we go from there. But because I want to round out this tutorial before I just keep going on with the millionaires.com growing the store, I want to show you what another ad account would look like and exactly how you would scale a successful ad account, because I hope yours is already successful. So I'm just going to come to an ad account. So this is a much, much healthier ad account. We can see that we've spent 1.23 million in about 10 days, and we've produced about $5 million of revenue in this one. So this has multiple campaigns, and those campaigns are structured like certain product categories. So one would be one product category, one would be another. The first thing that I would be doing is I would be adjusting the budgets. So I'd just go in and I would look at the return on ad spend for each of these things. If, for example, this one's at 10.86 and it's barely spending, and what I could literally look at is like yesterday, and I can see that these campaigns are just, they're barely spending, but they're getting fantastic results. I would then increase these budgets by 10, 20, 30%, depending on how much they're actually spending, to make sure that this ROAS number is coming down to my target ROAS. So you're probably wondering, how do I calculate target ROAS? You need to create a target ROAS calculator, which I will provide to you in millionaires.com, but it'll look something similar like this. I'm going to make this much better, but I'll walk you through this one. So we've got the unit sales price excluding tax. So this is going to be if you're charging sales tax on your product. Let's say you're selling it for, and it's a 10% sales tax, your actual price is going to be 40, 44, but you need to remove your sales tax to make it 40. Then we got payment fees, which I just average out to be about 4%. We'll give you. Then you've got your courier's cost, which the dropshipping platform will give you as well with the cost. Then you've got units delivered per order. Now, I only have this units delivered per order because I might be doing 4 packs or 7 packs or 9 packs or something like that later. So with this BOGO, I'm obviously delivering 2 units for the BOGO. This is actually going to be 59 as well. So with this BOGO, I need to have 2 there. And with a 4 pack, I need to have 4 because I'm sending 4 socks. So the cost per the sock is going to be $8, which is consistent. So you'd put your cost per item there. All of these things that are grayed out, I'll make this way nicer for you in millionaires.com. But this is then going to multiply that because I need to send 2 units. The courier cost might increase slightly because we're sending more units, but realistically, the incremental cost doesn't skyrocket that much, which is great. This is why we send bundles, so that the courier cost is less because it's very low to actually add more units. Then we got a bunch of metrics here, like our total COGS, which is just like a multiplication of the units and the COGS. Then the total cost per order to send all up. So that's basically all of these costs for you, including the payment fees. And then we've got the gross profit, which is relatively low for this product. I thought we could kind of make it up with packs and bundles and LTV and whatnot, but we'll figure that out as we go. Then we've got a target ROAS that we can manually input if we would like. So let's say for this campaign, if we were going to run a target ROAS of like 5, then it would spit out the customer acquisition cost that we have and the net profit dollar per order and the net margin percentage. So if I wanted to run this business at 20% profit and I'm running the BOGO promotion, I would need to run the store at 2.8 ROAS. If it was just this BOGO promotion, you can kind of ignore these for now. So this target ROAS, I also have added a section below, which is the break-even ROAS, which means if I'm spending more than 1.8 ROAS on this promotion, I am suddenly unprofitable and I shouldn't. And I want to be running at 2.8 to get the 20% profit. So if I was coming to this store, let's just say, for example, this is the alpaca socks, and I come into these campaign levels and I see that I've got the ROAS of 10.6 here, or in fact, all of these, just because it's a different store with a different margin profile. I would want to be adjusting my budgets so that this ROAS came to the 2.8 ROAS that we're targeting. So I could probably ramp up this campaign a fair bit. Then I would probably ramp up a lot of these other campaigns slightly because like this one's at mass scale. So I could still ramp it up a fair bit. It's probably the one with all the winning creatives and whatnot. And that I would keep doing that until this ROAS matches what I want, because I'm going to be maximizing revenue through that. And therefore, and I know I'm profitable. Now, if this went to under my break-even ROAS, or even, in between the target ROAS and the break-even ROAS, then I would want to probably scale back a little bit, pulling back 10, 20, 30%, depending on what I'm seeing. So once we start getting a fair few results, we can look at some of these other metrics, but that's not really going to help us that much. You can do some creative analysis, hook rate, hold rates, all of that kind of stuff, conversion rates of specific creatives. And we definitely do that at the Oodie. But in the early stages, when you're running campaigns, I really just recommend you just keep adjusting budgets primarily and just keep coming into ads. And I'll just sort these and looking at what your top ad is, leaving them if you want, and you can see some of these creatives like running at really, really low budgets and have a decent amount of spend, maybe 3, 4, 5 times your AOV. You can turn these off in the broad campaign so that Facebook doesn't keep trying to spend it and it's creating inefficient spend for you. I know some people that just leave it on completely, but I recommend that you do turn off some of the ads that are getting bad ROAS and absorbing spend. And then you're just literally creating new creatives based on some of the top performers that you've created, but you're also creating new creatives for different avatars. Remember what we talked about the other day about horizontal scaling as well. So we're creating vertical scaling by looking at the top creative that I have here, creating variations of that, but we're also creating other avatars, other offers, that kind of stuff, putting those into the broad campaign and seeing if that allows us to spend more and increase budgets. If that was all really confusing for you, make sure that you're following along the millionaires.com project, because even if I can't get this initial project to work, which I'm going to do a recap episode very, very soon on what I'm going to do to change this from a creative perspective, an offer perspective, all of that kind of stuff. But it's going to help when I have a much smaller ad account than this one, and I can show you the step-by-step of changing it. So make sure that you subscribe, make sure you head to millionaires.com, sign up, and I'll see you in the next episode.